Many people believe that retaining sexual energy is simply about not ejaculating, and that's exactly where the mistakes begin. Taoism teaches that retention is much more than a physical act. It's an ancient art that connects body, mind, and spirit in a continuous flow of power. And if you think this is just talk from a secluded monk on a mountaintop, prepare to be surprised. We're talking about a practice that can transform your vitality, your mental clarity, and even your outlook on life. But here's a warning: without understanding the balance between yin and yang, retention can become a trap. It's like trying to drive a sports car without knowing how to handle it. The power is there, but the risk of losing control is enormous. Throughout this video, you'll discover how Taoism treats sexual energy as one of the most powerful forces in the universe, capable of being transmuted into health, personal magnetism, and even expanded consciousness. And don't think this requires abandoning the world or living in seclusion. These techniques were created to be applied in everyday life, while you work, interact, and even during simple moments like walking or eating. You'll see that small routine adjustments can preserve your jing, balance your yin and yang, and direct your qi to levels most people never experience. Now, before we dive deeper into this knowledge, I'm going to ask you something important. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This way, you'll ensure you don't miss any content that can completely change your relationship with your own vital energy. Because, believe me, what we're going to explore here isn't something you learn just like that, and once you understand, you'll never look at your sexual energy the same way again. If you're just starting out with semen retention and want to learn how to practice it the right way, safely, and with results, I've prepared an essential ebook for beginners. It's a direct, simple, and transformative step-by-step guide. The link is in the first pinned comment. Qi, in Taoist thought, is not just a distant philosophical concept, but the very life force that animates every cell of the body and every thought of the mind. Imagine it as an invisible river that runs through you, nourishing your organs, muscles, emotions, and even mental clarity. When this river flows freely, one feels vitality, energy, and a natural serenity. But when it becomes stagnant or dispersed, fatigue, irritation, and loss of focus set in. Many go through life without realizing this flow exists and, consequently, without learning to care for it. For Taoism, qi is as real as gravity. Even if we can't see it, its effects are everywhere. What many call a good day or a bad day is actually a direct reflection of how this energy circulates. A simple walk outside, breathing deeply, can already change the quality of your qi. Similarly, sleepless nights, poor nutrition, and excessive worry drain this vital force like a leaky bucket. Those who learn to recognize the signs begin to gain control over their own state. The human body is an intelligent system, and qi is its most subtle fuel. It's not like the energy of a coffee or a supplement, which stimulates for hours. Qi is the foundation that sustains everything, from metabolism to clarity of thought. An athlete may feel strong because of their muscles, but if their qi is low, endurance and recovery will be slow. An entrepreneur may have 1,000 ideas, but without abundant qi, they will lack the focus to execute them. This is why, in Taoism, cultivating qi is a priority before any other advancement. It's interesting to note that qi isn't accumulated solely through rest or nutrition, although both are important. It is strengthened through habits that align body, mind, and spirit, such as meditation, deep breathing, and mindful movement. For example, the Taoist practice of waking up early, before sunrise, isn't superstition. It's a time when the energy in the environment is purest and can be absorbed more easily. Small routine changes, when made intentionally, transform the quality of qi. What few realize is that sexual energy is one of the most potent forms of qi. In everyday life, people disperse this energy without thinking, whether through excess or simple neglect of their body and mind. For Taoists, this dispersion is like spending your most valuable reserves on unimportant things. Those who learn to preserve and direct this energy not only gain vitality but also improve mental clarity, creativity, and even personal magnetism. It's no exaggeration to say that it's one of the secrets to aging with health and vigor. Controlling qi doesn't mean living like an isolated monk, but rather developing awareness of where it's being spent. It's like managing wealth. If you invest wisely, it grows. If you spend it carelessly, it disappears quickly. People who are constantly out of energy often don't need more stimulation, but rather learning to contain leaks. And, in Taoism, these leaks can be physical, emotional, or even mental, such as excessive negative thoughts or useless worries. The flow of qi is also influenced by the environment. Cluttered, noisy, or emotionally charged places drain energy without us even realizing it. A clean, harmonious space with natural elements helps qi restore itself. This is why practices like feng shui originated in the same cradle as Taoism, not to decorate the home, but to optimize the circulation of this vital energy. A simple rearrangement of furniture or the introduction of more natural light can have surprising effects. In the emotional realm, qi responds directly to what we feel and think. Constant anger causes qi to rise explosively and exhaustingly. Deep sadness causes it to descend and accumulate heavily. Joy and gratitude, on the other hand, spread qi evenly throughout the body, bringing lightness and energy. It's no wonder Taoist masters say that smiling is the first form of meditation. It instantly changes the quality of internal energy. Qi cultivation is also linked to the rhythm of nature. Modern life has forced many people to live disconnected from natural cycles, and this undermines energetic balance. Waking up and going to sleep at times aligned with the sun, respecting moments of silence and activity, and even eating seasonal foods help synchronize the body with the environment. This attunement creates a solid foundation for maintaining stable qi, avoiding the ups and downs that deplete vital energy. And it's precisely when we understand the importance of qi that an inevitable question arises. If it's the basis of life, how does sexual energy fit into this picture? After all, if this energy is one of the most concentrated expressions of qi, what does Taoism teach about how to balance its yin and yang aspects so that it's an ally and not a constant drain? This is where the next stage begins to reveal secrets few people know. Taoism views yin and yang not as opposites that cancel each other out, but as complementary forces that, together, maintain the balance of life. In the context of sexual energy, yin represents the receptive, internal, and nourishing aspect. Yang symbolizes the active, expansive, and penetrating. When one excessively dominates the other, the flow of qi becomes disorganized. It's like a dance in which one partner tries to direct alone, the rhythm is lost, and harmony disappears. The secret is to make yin and yang alternate and support each other. This duality can be observed in everything. In day and night, in heat and cold, in inhalation and exhalation. Similarly, in sexual energy, yin is not better, nor is yang stronger. Both are indispensable. A man with excess yang may feel great drive and strength, but without enough yin to nourish and stabilize this energy, he quickly burns out. A woman with excess yin may have emotional depth and sensitivity, but without yang, her energy tends to stagnate. When yin and yang are balanced in sexuality, the relationship is not only physical, but also energetic and spiritual. The act ceases to be a simple discharge and becomes a conscious exchange, where both nourish and strengthen each other. This requires presence, attention, and respect for one's own limits. Many Taoist masters teach that sexual harmony is not measured by the intensity of the moment, but by the energy that remains afterward, whether it nourishes or drains. A practical example. Imagine a relationship in which the person notices that, after intimacy, they feel more energetic, mentally clear, and even in a good mood. This indicates a healthy balance of yin and yang. However, when there's fatigue, irritation, or apathy, it's a sign that the exchange was uneven, likely with excess yang dissipating vital energy. Knowing how to read these signs is one of the first steps toward transforming your sex life into a source of vitality, not exhaustion. In the body, yin and yang also manifest physically. Yin is linked to bodily fluids, joint lubrication, and cell freshness and hydration. Yang is related to heat, circulation, and muscular strength. When a person practices sexual restraint without paying attention to yin, they can generate excess internal heat, causing irritability or insomnia. Excessive yin without yang leads to feelings of coldness, lethargy, and lack of initiative. Taoism teaches that conscious control of these poles is an art. During intimacy, techniques such as deep, slow breathing help balance the yang, preventing it from firing abruptly. At the same time, gentler, more measured movements preserve the yin, ensuring that energy is stored and recycled. This refinement in sexual practice is not something learned overnight, but rather a continuous training in self-awareness. In everyday life, yin and yang are also reflected in habits. Activities such as reading, meditation, or leisurely walks nourish yin. Physical exercise, intellectual challenges, and bold initiatives strengthen yang. A person who alternates between these practices builds a solid foundation so that, When the time comes to exchange energy with another person, balance is already present. This reduces the risk of burnout and maximizes the benefits of sexual energy. A common mistake is to associate yin only with women and yang only with men. In reality, everyone possesses both in different proportions, and the goal is to cultivate them in a balanced way. A man who develops his yin becomes more patient and intuitive. A woman who strengthens her yang gains determination and the capacity for action. Sexually, this creates more complete and nourishing relationships, rather than partial and imbalanced exchanges. This balance isn't just a matter of physical health, but also emotional health. Relationships where one partner is always in excess of yang and the other always in excess of yin tend to generate dependence or conflict. When both partners internally cultivate both forces, the encounter ceases to be an attempt to steal the other's energy and becomes an abundant sharing. It's a decisive step toward transforming intimacy into something truly regenerative. And in understanding this dance between yin and yang, a deeper insight emerges. If sexual energy is one of the most concentrated forms of qi, and if the balance of these forces is so essential, then what about what Taoism calls jing, the vital essence that sustains life and which, according to the masters, can be wasted or preserved? This is where the conversation begins to take on an even more revealing tone. At the heart of Taoist philosophy, the jingit is considered the vital essence, the invisible foundation that sustains health, longevity, and mental clarity. It is like the roots of a tree, invisible to the eye, but absolutely essential for everything above ground to flourish. Without jing, there is no energy to nourish qi or balance to sustain yin and yang. It is the most precious reserve we carry from birth, and how we use it determines the pace at which we age. Jing can be understood as an energetic inheritance. We receive part of it from our parents, prenatal jing, and part is cultivated throughout life through habits, diet, and energetic practices, postnatal jing. Prenatal jing is like a starting capital. It cannot be increased, only preserved. Postnatal jing is the income we can generate and reinvest to prolong and strengthen our vitality. This is why Taoist masters treat jing with reverence, almost like spiritual gold. Constant ejaculation, according to Taoism, is one of the factors that most quickly deplete jing, especially in men. This doesn't mean demonizing the sexual act, but understanding that each time this essence is released unconsciously, a valuable portion of vital energy is dispersed. It's like wasting part of your most precious asset on things of little value. You may not feel it immediately, but over the years, the body begins to show clear signs of wear and tear. For women, the loss of jing also occurs, albeit in a different way, often associated with excessive menstruation, repeated pregnancies without recovery time, and a stressful lifestyle. The bottom line is that jing is the foundation of vitality, regardless of gender, and preserving it is essential for maintaining youth, mental clarity, and physical strength. This explains why Taoist practices of internal cultivation are so valued. They not only preserve but recycle this energy. A practical example can be seen in elderly people who, despite their age, maintain vigor, lucidity, and even a magnetic aura. In general, these individuals have known, consciously or unconsciously, how to preserve their jing. They avoid excesses, maintain balanced habits, and cultivate practices that nourish body and mind. On the other hand, people who have lived with constant abuse, physical, emotional, or sexual, tend to show signs of premature depletion, as their jing has been depleted without adequate replenishment. Jing is also closely linked to the immune system. When it's preserved, the body responds better to illness, recovers faster, and maintains hormonal balance. When it's low, people get sick easily, recover slowly, and experience constant fatigue. It's as if the body has lost its reserve capital to deal with unexpected events. In Taoism, maintaining high jing is like having a well-stocked emergency fund for health. Nutrition is one of the most direct ways to strengthen postnatal jing. Fresh, whole, nutrient-rich foods, such as nuts, seeds, roots, and vegetables grown without pesticides, are considered builders of this energy. Processed foods, excess sugar, and alcohol act as veritable jing thieves, robbing vitality and weakening the body's energy base. The idea is simple. The more natural and vibrant the food, the more it nourishes your essence. Practices such as deep meditation, conscious breathing, and energetic exercises are also powerful ways to conserve jing. In Taoism, there are specific methods that channel sexual energy back into the body, strengthening vital organs and the mind. It's like taking the heat from a flame and using it to warm the entire house, rather than letting it dissipate in the wind. This recycling not only preserves but also multiplies vitality. Another important point is that Jing is not just physical, but also emotional and spiritual. Living in constant stress, conflict, or toxic environments consumes this energy as quickly as poor eating habits. Therefore, caring for Jing involves conscious lifestyle choices, cultivating healthy relationships, maintaining moments of introspection, and avoiding pointless arguments. It's a comprehensive care that goes beyond the body. And, understanding the incomparable value of Jing, a new question arises. If this vital essence can be recycled and transformed, how exactly does Taoism teach us to transmute sexual energy into spiritual and mental energy? The answer lies in the next step, where transmutation practices reveal how to transform desire into clarity and lasting vitality. In Taoism, sexual energy is not seen as something to be repressed, but as one of the most powerful forces for physical, mental, and spiritual transformation. This energy, when dispersed unconsciously, only fuels fleeting moments of pleasure. But when directed consciously, it can be refined and converted into vitality, mental clarity, and even expanded consciousness. It's like redirecting the flow of a river to irrigate an entire plantation, instead of letting it flow into the sea without producing anything. Transmutation begins with the understanding that desire is not the enemy. On the contrary, it is the raw material. The difference lies in how one deals with it. Most quickly discharge it, while Taoist practitioners learn to hold and circulate this energy throughout the body. This is done through breathing techniques, muscle contraction, and mental focus, directing Jing to nourish organs and systems, rather than being lost. It is a process of internal alchemy. One of the core practices is deep abdominal breathing, which connects mind and body and allows you to feel the heat and pulsation of sexual energy rising up your spine. As you inhale slowly, the energy is guided to the lower abdomen, the dantian, and as you exhale, it spreads throughout your body. This movement creates a continuous cycle of recycling, where arousal ceases to be localized and becomes an energetic field that permeates your entire being. Transmutation also involves what masters call the microcosmic orbit, the conscious circulation of energy through the body's two main channels, the front channel and the back channel. With practice, the practitioner can feel the sexual energy rising up the spine, passing through the head, and descending down the front of the body, forming a closed circuit. This process not only preserves Jing but also strengthens Qi and balances Yin and Yang. In everyday life, this can be applied simply. For example, in moments of excitement, instead of seeking immediate release, the practitioner can stop, close their eyes, breathe deeply, and direct their attention to their spine and abdomen. It's a self-control exercise that, over time, increases physical endurance, improves mental clarity, and elevates emotional state. Short intervals of conscious retention, even outside of intimacy, begin to reprogram the body. Another benefit of transmutation is enhanced creativity and intuition. When sexual energy is raised to the higher centers of the body, it nourishes the brain and nervous system, awakening insights, focus, and inspiration. Many artists, inventors, and leaders report periods of extraordinary productivity after periods of retaining and consciously directing this energy. It's not magic, but physiology and energy working together. This practice also strengthens spiritual connection. In Taoism, sexual energy is the bridge between the physical body and the subtler dimensions of being. By elevating and refining it, the practitioner experiences states of expanded consciousness, a greater sense of unity with nature, and profound inner peace. It's as if, instead of expending energy externally, it were used to expand one's perception of the universe. It's important to emphasize that transmutation isn't a standalone technique, but rather part of a set of habits that strengthen the body and mind. A balanced diet, adequate sleep, internal exercises, and a harmonious environment are essential for the process to work fully. Without this foundation, the transmuted energy can become dispersed or generate imbalances. Many beginners make the mistake of thinking that simply not releasing is enough to transmute, but this is merely physical retention, not alchemy. True transmutation requires intention, presence, and constant practice. It's the difference between storing treasure in a vault and investing that treasure to generate ongoing wealth. In the first case, it remains stagnant. In the second, it multiplies. And understanding that it's possible to transform desire into inner power, the next natural question arises. What are the internal cultivation techniques that allow us to conserve, strengthen, and circulate this energy efficiently throughout the body? It's at this point that Taoism reveals ancient exercises capable of enhancing all these effects. In Taoism, Nei Gong is like the body's internal gym, where invisible muscles are trained: attention, breathing, and energy flow. These techniques are not just physical exercises, but integrated practices that strengthen organs, balance emotions, and increase mental clarity. The idea is both simple and profound. When vital energy is cultivated internally, it becomes more stable, more abundant, and less prone to leakage. Deep abdominal breathing is one of the fundamental practices. When you inhale, your abdomen expands like a balloon, and when you exhale, it gently retracts. This breathing pattern activates the diaphragm, massages the internal organs, and helps qi circulate smoothly. It's different from the shallow, loud breathing that stress causes, which drains energy and agitates the mind. Just 5 minutes of this breathing practice daily can change your mood. Another essential practice is the so-called microcosmic orbit. The goal is to create a closed circuit for qi, moving it up the spine and down the front of the body. This circulation nourishes vital organs, clears energetic blockages, and strengthens the connection between yin and yang. It's like opening internal channels so that energy can flow freely, without accumulating pressure in a single point. Taoist meditation is equally powerful. Rather than simply emptying the mind, it involves observing and feeling the body from within, identifying areas of tension and guiding qi to balance them. Some versions of this practice include visualizing light or heat moving through the body, which helps the mind direct energy. This mental training creates a refinement that goes far beyond relaxation, generating focus and vitality. Slow, conscious movements, such as in Tai Chi and Qigong, are also part of Nei Gong. They work the body gently but deeply, unlocking joints, stimulating circulation, and synchronizing breathing and movement. These exercises strengthen the physical body while training the mind to be present, which increases efficiency in retaining and transmuting sexual energy. A practical application for those who want to get started is to dedicate 10 to 15 minutes in the morning to a simple sequence: 3 minutes of abdominal breathing, 5 minutes of microcosmic orbit, and some Qigong movements. This creates an energy shield that protects against energy dispersion throughout the day. Over time, the person will notice that they are calmer, more focused, and have greater physical endurance. Everything I'm explaining to you here, I break down more calmly in my ebook The Power of Semen Retention. It was created for those who are starting from scratch and want to know how to apply semen retention to their daily lives in a healthy way, without any crazy ideas or exaggerations. It's a practical guide, straight to the point. Nei Gong also includes strengthening the lower abdomen, or lower dantian, considered the body's primary energy reservoir. Gentle contraction exercises in this region, combined with breathing, help store qi and jing there. This practice, when performed regularly, gives the practitioner a sense of center and stability, both physically and emotionally. Another technique used is root breathing, which involves gently contracting the perineum as you inhale, imagining the energy rising up your spine. As you exhale, relax and visualize the energy spreading throughout your body. This exercise, in addition to strengthening deep muscles, prevents the loss of jing during moments of sexual arousal, as it trains conscious control of this area. In addition to formal techniques, Nei Gong emphasizes posture and body alignment in daily life. Spending hours hunched over a computer compresses the abdomen and blocks the flow of qi. Keeping the spine straight, shoulders relaxed, and breathing freely is, in itself, an act of internal cultivation. The idea is for the body to be an open channel for energy, not a system of clogged tubes. With consistent practice, these techniques not only conserve sexual energy but also transform it into physical vitality and mental clarity. They prepare the body and mind to better handle challenges, prevent burnout, and create an energy reserve for important moments. But, as we'll see below, even retention and cultivation require balance. For when yin and yang aren't in balance, the result can be the opposite of what's desired. In Taoism, retaining sexual energy without the proper balance between yin and yang can cause more problems than benefits. It's like having a powerful engine without a cooling system. The power is there, but overheating damages the parts. When yang is excessive and there isn't enough yin to cool it and nourish the body, symptoms such as irritability, insomnia, and constant tension arise. Excessive yin without yang leads to apathy, stagnation, and lack of initiative. One of the most common risks of poorly managed retention is energy stagnation. When sexual energy isn't released or circulated properly, it can accumulate in the pelvic region, causing physical discomfort, pain, or even prostate problems in men. It's like damming up water without creating channels for it to flow. Sooner or later, the pressure becomes unsustainable. Therefore, circulation practices, such as the microcosmic orbit, are essential. Another common imbalance is increased sexual obsession. When energy is retained only physically, without internal transmutation work, the mind can become even more fixated on fantasies and desires. This occurs because the accumulated energy seeks an outlet and, without guidance, manifests itself in repetitive and compulsive thoughts. Yin-yang balance involves not only controlling the body but also educating the mind to redirect this force. The body can also react physically to imbalance. Excessive yang can generate internal heat, resulting in dry mouth, excessive sweating, a feeling of heat in the hands and feet, or even inflammation. Excessive yin, on the other hand, can cause cold extremities, a slow metabolism, and a lack of motivation. Recognizing these signs early is crucial to adjusting your practice and avoiding health problems. A practical example. Imagine someone who begins to retain sexual energy and, excited by the initial results, intensifies their practice without worrying about breathing, meditation, or emotional balance. At first, they feel stronger and more focused, but soon irritation, anxiety, and insomnia set in. Consulting a Taoist master, they receive guidance on incorporating yin cultivation practices, such as gentle meditation, stretching, and outdoor walks, to rebalance their system. Diet also plays an important role in this adjustment. Spicy, very hot, or overly stimulating foods increase yang, while excessively cold and raw foods increase yin. A balanced diet helps maintain stable and harmonious sexual energy. A balanced meal can include whole grains, cooked vegetables, light proteins, and small portions of raw vegetables, respecting the body's needs and the current climate. Emotional state is another decisive factor. Emotions like anger and impatience fuel yang, sadness and melancholy fuel yin. The mindful practitioner seeks to cultivate balanced emotions, maintaining serenity and mental clarity. Techniques like conscious breathing, therapeutic writing, and even internal martial arts help channel emotions and prevent them from destabilizing energetic balance. Retention without proper yin-yang can also affect social and professional life. Excessive accumulated energy without proper circulation can lead to explosive behavior or, at the opposite extreme, apathy and isolation. This is why Taoist masters recommend integrating the practice into a dynamic lifestyle, with healthy interactions and activities that keep the body and mind moving. Over time, the practitioner learns that retention is not repression, and that circulation is not waste. It is a state of flow, where sexual energy moves, transforms, and integrates with the whole. This understanding is essential to using the practice to its full potential without losing itself in its excesses. And, in the next step, we will see how, in Taoism, this harmony becomes not just a matter of health, but a true path to inner enlightenment. In Taoism, retaining sexual energy goes far beyond a simple physical practice. It's a bridge to inner enlightenment. Masters teach that sexual energy is the most concentrated form of qi, and that when preserved and transmuted, it becomes fuel for spiritual awakening. It's not about denying pleasure, but about elevating its purpose. It's like using a flame to light 1,000 other candles, rather than letting it burn out. Conscious control of this energy expands perception and deepens connection with the Tao, the essence that permeates all things. By retaining and circulating Jing, the practitioner strengthens not only the body but also the mind and spirit. The clarity that emerges from this practice allows us to perceive hidden patterns, understand deep emotions, and live with greater presence. It's as if a veil has been lifted from our eyes, revealing a broader reality. This spiritual approach doesn't mean abandoning ordinary life, but transforming the way we live it. Business owners, artists, and teachers can all apply the principles of retention to bring greater awareness to their actions. Over time, the practice ceases to be simply about controlling impulses and becomes a way of aligning intentions with the natural flow of the universe. Practitioners begin to feel that their choices carry more purpose. On an emotional level, well-conducted retention strengthens stability and reduces impulsive reactions. Energy previously spent on immediate releases is now used to cultivate patience, compassion, and self-control. This creates a solid foundation for spiritual growth, as the mind ceases to be hostage to desires and becomes an ally on the inner path. It's like exchanging a drifting boat for a steady, well-guided vessel. Many Taoist masters claim that sexual energy, when heightened, opens subtle channels that facilitate experiences of expanded consciousness. This can manifest as clearer intuitions, vivid dreams, or a sense of deep connection with nature and others. It is a state in which pleasure ceases to be merely physical and becomes also energetic and spiritual. This transformation gives new meaning to living fully. Practices such as deep meditation, visualization, and specific mantras enhance this path. They help direct retained energy to the body's higher centers, nourishing the heart and mind. Over time, a sense of inner fulfillment replaces the incessant search for external stimuli. The practitioner realizes that they already carry within themselves the source of well-being they sought outside. Retention as a spiritual path also involves service and contribution. By raising one's energy, one naturally begins to radiate more vitality, calm, and presence. This positively impacts family, friends, and even strangers. Small gestures become more important, as they are charged with a purer and more intentional energy. It is practice transcending the individual to touch the collective. Another characteristic of this journey is the strengthening of intuition. With less dispersed energy, the mind becomes clearer, able to perceive subtle signals and make decisions more aligned with one's destiny. This alignment reduces wasted time and effort, allowing life to flow more harmoniously. It's like sailing with the wind behind you, instead of fighting against it. With continued practice, retention ceases to be a technique and becomes a state of being. The practitioner no longer sees sexual energy merely as an impulse, but as a sacred resource deserving of care and reverence. And it is at this point that life takes on a new depth, as every act, every thought, and every breath become part of a greater purpose. But this spiritual elevation isn't just theoretical. It needs to manifest itself in daily practice, in concrete decisions and consistent habits. And that's precisely where the next step comes in: how to apply this philosophy to everyday life, from nutrition to moments of introspection, so that the balance between yin and yang is truly and consistently experienced. Applying the Taoist principles of yin-yang retention and balance to your daily life doesn't require living in isolation in a temple. It requires awareness in every choice. The first practical application begins early in the morning. Upon waking, taking a few minutes for deep abdominal breathing awakens the body and stabilizes the mind, preparing the flow of qi for the rest of the day. Small morning rituals create a solid foundation for sexual energy to be conserved and transmuted throughout the day. Nutrition is another fundamental pillar. Taoism recommends fresh, seasonal, and minimally processed foods, as they nourish Jing and balance yin and yang. On hot days, refreshing foods like cucumber, watermelon, and green tea help control excess yang. On cold days, soups, roots, and ginger warm and strengthen. Eating mindfully, chewing slowly, not only improves digestion but also enhances the energy absorption of food. Physically, incorporating gentle exercises like qigong, tai chi, or even walking outdoors keeps qi circulation active and prevents stagnation. These movements, especially when synchronized with breathing, help recycle sexual energy and keep the body flexible and strong. Even those on a time-strapped schedule can incorporate breaks during work to stretch, breathe, and release accumulated tension. Moments of introspection are also essential. Setting aside a few minutes each day to meditate, reflect, or simply observe your breathing calms the mind and facilitates energetic transmutation. Voluntary silence, even for a few minutes, acts as a reset for the nervous system. This mental pause is especially valuable for those who live in fast-paced environments, as it reduces the tendency to waste energy on worries or impulsive reactions. Social and professional life can also be aligned with these principles. Establishing clear boundaries, avoiding pointless arguments, and maintaining a circle of relationships that encourage growth are ways to protect Jing. The external environment directly influences internal energy. People and places that generate tension drain vitality, while harmonious interactions strengthen it. This is the practical application of the Taoist saying, "Cultivate the garden and the butterflies will come." Conscious breathing can be used at any time to maintain balance. During stressful situations or intense desire, inhaling deeply through the nose and exhaling slowly through the mouth helps stabilize yang and nourish yin. This simple and discreet technique can be used at work, while commuting, or even during a difficult conversation, preventing energy loss due to impulsiveness. Another application is cultivating mindfulness in daily tasks. Washing dishes, cooking, walking, everything can be done with presence, feeling your body and breath. This practice transforms ordinary activities into qi circulation and preservation exercises. The key is to realize that every moment is an opportunity for strengthening, not just formal practice periods. Quality rest is also essential. Going to bed early, ideally before 11 p.m., allows the body to recharge its qi and jing more efficiently, as this is when, according to Taoism, the organs perform regenerative functions. Avoiding screens and artificial lights before bed helps respect the body's natural rhythm and improves the depth of sleep. Small adjustments to the physical environment further enhance these effects. Keeping the home organized, airy, and filled with natural elements promotes the flow of qi. Plants, natural light, and gentle aromas help create a space of balance and regeneration. This is feng shui applied in a simple, practical way, without complications. Over time, these practices cease to be isolated tasks and become a lifestyle. Sexual energy becomes naturally conserved and directed, yin and yang adjust almost automatically, and jing strengthens day by day. But for this philosophy to take root, an understanding of these principles must be presented in an engaging way from the outset, and that's exactly what we'll cover in this introduction. If you've made it this far, you've already realized that, according to Taoism, retaining sexual energy is much more than simple physical control. It's a practice that involves awareness, balance, and intention, and when properly conducted, it can completely transform your vitality, focus, and spiritual connection. But all this knowledge only makes sense if applied. Understanding yin, yang, and jing is pointless if you return to the same energy-draining habits tomorrow. So, ask yourself, how much of your energy are you still wasting without realizing it? And what would your life be like if you learned to direct that energy toward creating, achieving, and living with greater presence? The choice is always yours, to remain a slave to your impulses or to become master of your own energy. And, as you've seen, Taoism has already left the map, you just have to walk. Start simple, adjust your breathing, practice a moment of silence each day, move your body consciously, and pay attention to your diet. Gradually, you'll feel more clarity, calm, and more strength to face any challenge. Remember, retention isn't repression, it's transformation. It's taking something raw and polishing it until it becomes light, vitality, and wisdom. Now I want to know, which of the techniques you saw today will you put into practice first? Have you ever tried any form of energy transmutation? Share in the comments, because your experience may inspire others who are just starting this journey. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. This space is for sharing knowledge. And before you leave, be sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. This way, you'll continue receiving content that can raise your energy levels, balance your inner strengths, and bring you ever closer to your full potential. The path is already before you. Now it's time to take the next step.